Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second annual Salsa Shack NES Mario Decathlon. Apologies for the slightly late start. Glad everybody was able to make it in. If I could get at least one person just to confirm that you can hear me okay, we're not going to waste a whole lot of time here. So, very quickly, what is the NES Mario Decathlon? It is the way that we here at the Salsa Shack celebrate March 10th, or Mario Day, with a look into Mario's origins on the Nintendo Entertainment System. We have 7 runners tonight that are going to be running these 10 goals from these 10 NES games featuring Mario. You can see them there. I don't feel the need to read all of them aloud to you, but we'll be seeing some great retro gameplay from everyone involved tonight. We had a blast doing it last year, and we have not only returning veterans of the event, but we have some new faces here as well. So without further ado, let's take a look at the groupings of runners. So we have the reigning defending champion up in the top left, Arn Pauly, who completed all 10 goals last year in a stunning time of 55 minutes and 14 seconds. An emphatic first place finish. He put on a clinic, and he's looking to defend that championship here tonight. A couple other people on this page of the layout that are looking for revenge, probably not only on Arn Pauly, but maybe on some specific games in the list as well. Pico de Guile, who ran last year, and I know he specifically wants some revenge on Super Mario Bros. 2, and we can probably talk a little bit more in the stream about what exactly happened there last year. Noise Police, also a veteran of this event, and he has revenge on his mind as well. We would be remiss, though, if we didn't also talk about newcomer Professor Retro. He has been practicing like crazy over the past few days, streaming attempts. I know that he's capable of putting up a pretty good time here as well. I know he has a full run under his belt of all the games and goals that was just over an hour. And then in the second group, we have Ugly Al, who is somewhat of a late addition to the field here, joining up in the race today. He wasn't sure, was not 100% positive he'd be able to participate. He's here, and we're going to see what happens here. Bird Base, in particular, I think is a very interesting story, just because last year, and even technically from this year, if you were listening to those tunes right before stream started, then you have, you see Bird Base, he is going from composer to competitor, right? So he will be, he did some awesome remixes as a tribute to the event last year. And now this year, he's running in it alongside everyone else. And then finally rounding out the field is Camp Huna 8, who was also a runner last year, completed the run in just over 2 hours. And I know from speaking to him that he's looking to improve upon his time as well. I think we're probably going to be just about ready to get our runners started once Bird Base is in and ready to go. We're just waiting on one final person to ready up, and then we're going to get the countdown started. We are going to jump right into the gameplay. The very first thing we're going to be looking at a potential trick or skip right out of the gate in Donkey Kong. That first ladder on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It is possible, if you're on the correct pixel, that you can climb down that ladder instead of up, and you can wrap around the bottom of the screen to the top and essentially skip this entire stage. And when this is a 3-stage goal, skipping almost a third of the game is pretty crucial. So we'll see who's able to get that magic pixel on the first try. So that's something to definitely be mindful of. And we are getting ready to start the countdown. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we are just about to be off here. We should be seeing gameplay starting here momentarily. Pico de Gallo heading toward that ladder. And now we have the gameplay started. That was actually the demo. So now we have everyone starting. Pico and Noise Police both getting that ladder wrap first try. Arnpali not too far behind, so you'll see Professor Retro gets it as well. So everybody on this screen choosing to take the shortcut and being able to pull that off. So now we're moving on to the second stage with the lifts. There's definitely some risk involved here. There's some RNG elements of that fireball. Professor Retro needing to jump to the lower level just because of some fireball RNG. As Pico climbs to the top and he is completed with that stage. Looks like Noise Police potentially in the lead here on the Rivet stage. This is the final stage of Donkey Kong. So we have 3 runners visible on this screen that are just about ready to move on to the second game. Lots of potential for death here with fireballs coming all over the place. Now all 4 visible runners over on the Rivet stage. Noise Police running into some trouble with a fireball there. He's leaving 1 rivet down there kind of toward the bottom right. He's going to have to backtrack to get that. He may lose some time there. But at the end of the day, that's still better than taking a death and needing to start the stage entirely over. Noise Police, the first to finish Donkey Kong, and he will move on to Donkey Kong Jr. Let's take a look over at the other side and see what we have. Ugly Owl also on the Rivet stage. Campuna as well. Bird Base taking the long route in the lift stage, and he's probably not too far out from completing that as well. So let's take a look here. That's a DK finish for Ugly Owl and Campuna, almost a photo finish. So they will be moving on to Donkey Kong Jr. as well. Bird Base makes his way into the Rivet stage. There is a 30-second wait time in between games just to level the playing field between emulator players, flashcart players, and we have 2 runners who are playing on distinct NES carts. So they're actually switching physical carts on the NES. So in order to level that playing field between everybody, everyone's required to wait a minimum of 30 seconds before starting the next game. And Professor Retro is still in the Rivet level of Donkey Kong. It's very possible that he took a death whenever he was off screen. Noise Police still in the lead. He's moved on to stage 3 of Donkey Kong Jr. Just 1 stage left after this. Arnpali, though, not too far behind in his own right. So once Noise Police gets to the top here, he will move on to the key level, which is the final stage in Donkey Kong Jr. Professor Retro with a clear of Donkey Kong. So now all 4 visible runners over on Donkey Kong Jr. We'll take a look at Noise Police and Arnpali here in the key level. Pico de Guile now with the keys as well, so he's done a little bit of catch up here. There's some serious RNG with these birds and the enemies that are climbing up and down as well. You can see Noise Police kind of stuck, needing to wait on that. He clears it. Looks like Arnpolly, stream delays potentially, but it looks like on our side, Arnpolly has taken a very slight lead over Noise Police. Pico, not very far behind either. While we have 3 runners doing their 30-second swap, we can take a look over on the other side and see how Donkey Kong Jr. is going for 2 runners. Bird Base, back to stage 1 of Donkey Kong. So I think it appears to be likely that he took a game over and needed to start Donkey Kong from scratch. Ugly Owl has finished up with Donkey Kong Jr. So now we'll wait his 30 seconds. We'll stick around with Camp Huna here to see his clear of Donkey Kong Jr. And then we can join our other runners over in Mario Brothers here in just a few moments, just waiting on that. And there it is. Camp Huna moving on to Mario Brothers. So as you can see here, three runners in Mario Brothers. Looks like Arnpolly very likely has a slight lead. He just cleared Phase 2. As you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, the goal for Mario Brothers is to clear Phase 7. So Arnpolly just under halfway. Looks like he took a pause there, trying to clip through the floor. I know that's something that Noise Police has been practicing, so he may be able to gain a little bit of time there. Pico de Guile, also in second place here. He's about to clear Phase 3. If you're not super familiar with Mario Brothers, this is where we see the introduction of the side steppers, who are the crabs that take 2 hits to flip over. But the premise of this game is you need to hit your enemies from below, which stuns them and gives you the ability to take them out, as Professor Retro completes Donkey Kong Jr. So we have 4 runners on this screen over on Mario Brothers. Arnpolly being resourceful with that POW block, which treats every enemy on the screen as though they have been hit from below, provided they are on the floor. And I think he just has 1 more enemy to fight. Looks like 2, actually, over on Phase 5. Once you get down to the last enemy, they change colors and they move a little bit faster. Arnpolly was able to prevent that, though, from having both enemies flipped over at the same time. So Arnpolly moving on to Phase 6. And it looks like we temporarily don't have video for him, but we see in Mario Brothers over here, Ugly Owl over in Phase 4 of Mario Brothers. He's just 1 enemy away from clearing it. Meanwhile, Camp Huna on Phase 3. Still very much anybody's race, especially in these early runs, which are relatively short. I think Mario Brothers generally poses the biggest risk, at least early on, just because it can be a little bit costly. All right, Noise Police has moved on to Phase 7. Looks like we have some potential technical issues over on Arnpolly's side. So we will keep an eye out there and see what that situation is. But Noise Police moving on to the next game, which is Pinball. Pico de Guile one enemy away from clearing Mario Brothers. That coin moves it to its other side. One thing to watch for in pinball is there is a manipulation that can cause you to find Mario pretty much instantly. Doesn't look like Noise Police gets it there. The Noise Police will just reset. This is a very viable strategy. I believe Pico and Noise Police both in pinball at the same time. Noise just going to continually reset until he gets that manipulation. And I believe that Pico has gotten it. So he's just about to make it into the hole there and find Mario. And Pico de Guile emphatically taking the lead. But Noise Police not too far behind. He finds Mario as well. That is all you have to do in the pinball goal. So we have 2 runners moving on to golf. Let's check in with the others. Bird Base, and I'm truthfully a little bit confused. Bird Base appears to be in the Pie Factory in Donkey Kong, which is not part of the typical NES game. So I'm not sure if he's running an alternate version of Donkey Kong, but it makes sense that he would struggle a little bit if he is playing an extra level. Let's take a look at Ugly Al and what he has going on in pinball. And I believe this is the manip for Ugly Owl. Ugly Owl finds Mario, and Ugly Owl will move on to golf. Yeah, it looks like Bird Base may be running a hack of Donkey Kong that adds the Pie Factory level into the game, or I guess back into the game. That level is typically exclusive to the arcade version. I mean, we're certainly not going to, penalize him for that. I mean, he ultimately has to play an additional level to clear the goal. So I think, in essence, that is probably handicap enough in itself. As Ugly Owl hits the ball into the sand, Camp Huna moving on to pinball. All right, Pico de Guile over on hole 4. Noise Police just completing hole 4, so it looks like Noise was able to pull ahead. Professor Retro finds Mario, so he will move on to golf as well. So most of the runners now are in golf. We do have confirmation of a computer crash on Arn Pauly's side. It sounds like his intent is to try to get back up and running. And then from that point, it looks like he will very likely be starting the run over. Golf, a relatively low risk run. You're not able to, you can't take a death in golf for sure. You're able to, pretty much every shot is making progress overall. toward the goal, which is good. The thing that you really want to try to avoid is hitting the ball, completely out of bounds, because that forces you to repeat the shot from the same place that you did. But for the most part, it's extremely forgiving, even if you hit the ball in the water. And there are some points in the run where you hit the ball into the water intentionally to save some time. Score, not really relevant for golf today. It is all about speed, and you just need to complete hole 18 faster than anybody else. So Professor Retro exactly 4 holes behind Noise Police. Noise in hole 8. Pico finishing up hole 7, just about to get on the green there. Beautiful shot by Noise Police, taking the shortcut through that random patch of fairway that is not considered out of bounds, even though all of the trees around it are. We tend to not ask. Meanwhile, Pico, his shot is short on hole 8. Like I said before, that is out of bounds, meaning he needs to repeat that shot. That is one of the only real time loss in golf is hitting the ball out of bounds. But if you're not familiar with this game and the controls, it's not difficult to do. It is very easy to hit the ball out of bounds in NES Golf. Checking in on the other group now. Looks like hole 6 for Ugly Al. Hole 3 for Camp Huna. So we have quite a few golfers. It is, casually. I mean, it's generally a 10 plus minute run. So kick back and enjoy some golf. Let's try to send some good vibes toward Bird Base as well, as he continues to make it through Donkey Kong. And it does appear now that Bird Base may be running the appropriate version of Donkey Kong that does not include the Pie Factory, because I believe the Pie Factory would be the second level. And that is indeed the case. Bird Base now on the Rivet stage. It's also very possible that the ROM hack that he was playing tries to more closely emulate the arcade version of Donkey Kong, which in my opinion is vastly more difficult than the NES version. So that might have also been a factor in him struggling with this game a little bit. He seems to be cruising right now, though. And that will do it for Donkey Kong for Bird Base as he topples DK, rescues Pauline, and he will move on to Donkey Kong Jr. And checking back in here, both Noise and Pico on hole 12. This one is a very tough hole because of the dog leg. It is possible to drive the ball kind of up the middle there and then go across that black area into the hole. But you see Pico just hitting the ball out of bounds when trying to do that. Noise Police now taking the lead back. Extremely unfortunate. You have to wonder, where Arn Polly would be in this mix. He last year finished golf 1 stroke under par, and he just ripped through the game way faster than anybody else, and it was a lead that he never lost. So those, that computer crash is a little bit. It's definitely unfortunate. Noise now almost an entire hole ahead of Pico. But the real meat of the run is coming up with that Super Mario Brothers trilogy. There's a lot of potential for slowdowns, potentials for deaths, time saves, anything can happen. As Noise Police hits the bunker on 16 over by the hole. Chips back up onto the green. That will potentially save Pico some time as he's about to start hole 16. Noise still just about almost an entire hole ahead. Let's check in with our other two golfers. Ugly Owl moving along as well. Hole 12, we'll see how he's able to get this and take care of it. The tee off works well. Let's see if he's able to get the shot over the black area and onto the green. He just skips over it. That's a great shot. As Bird Base, he's trucking along now. He's on the second stage of Donkey Kong Jr. Making up time from those issues. And that's the end of stage 2 for Bird Base. As Camp Huna just clears hole 10 and moves on to hole 11. And we can move back over to our other set of runners too, just to see where golf is running. Noise Police just about to finish up. He's on hole 18, and he's got the putter out. Looks like he putts right into the sand, potentially. And he seems to be stuck in the sand. So Pico de Guile now. It's a big shot on hole 18. If he hits a good one-wood shot here, he's going to gain a decent amount of time. He was an entire hole behind. And that is barely in bounds for Pico de Guile. He puts it in for eagle. They're both done with golf. What an incredible putt by Pico de Guile. He is now just seconds behind Noise Police. That was an incredible putt. And they are both about to start out with Wrecking Crew. Professor Retro now on hole 16 of golf. He's about to put a 3-iron shot up toward the green. Skips over the water. Now he's got a short chip onto the green. Noise Police has begun Wrecking Crew. We will see how everything goes here. Definitely do not sleep on Professor Retro when the game moves over to Wrecking Crew. Professor Retro, he did the tutorial for the Salsa Shack for Wrecking Crew. He is just, I believe, 63 milliseconds behind the world record for top score in Wrecking Crew. So he is on the heels of Josh Keys, the world record holder. It's very possible that he could someday have that record. As here in golf, though, he hits the ball out of bounds. Now, I will say, in Wrecking Crew, for the Mario Decathlon, you need to play a little bit farther than that top score category, because we are clearing Phase 8, and the top score category generally only requires you to clear 4 stages and the bonus level. Noise Police picking up the golden hammer. That makes Mario move faster, and every block you hit, even ones that normally take multiple hits, can then be hit in one try. Pico goes for the manipulation to pick up the golden hammer. He gets the manip, but he falls from the bomb, so he will take a death, and he will have to replay phase 4. Noise Police finds the coin. There's definitely an RNG element to that could affect this. If any runners get the coin sooner, they'll pick up time. And Pico falls again in the golden hammer manip. So he's struggling just a little bit to clear phase 4 here. I believe he just needs to move a little bit more left, and then he'll be able to get it. He's getting the hammer to spawn, but the bomb is dropping him, and there it is. And now he will get the fast clear. At this point, as long as neither runner dies, they will have the golden hammer for the remainder of the run. So dying and losing the golden hammer would very much be something that you don't want to do, as Noise Police doing some swag hovering from one side of the screen to the other to clear that stage. He is now on phase 7. He clears it, so just one phase of Wrecking Crew to go for Noise Police. He has been able to extend his lead after a close call there in golf, and now Professor Retro, we will see the master at work. As I had mentioned, Professor Retro is in contention for the Wrecking Crew top score world record. So by far the most elite Wrecking Crew player we have in the race today. Noise taking a death as he clears the stage, but it is, in that case, a double kill counts. The bonus stage loaded. He's done with Wrecking Crew, and he is now moving on to Super Mario Brothers. For all 3 games, Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, the goal is to clear World 2 without using warps. Professor Retro going for that golden hammer manip. He gets it first try. And Pico going for the hover and falls, and he takes a death. So that is going to really slow things down for him because he no longer has the golden hammer, meaning that Mario is going to run at a slower speed. So this is a big opportunity for Professor Retro to gain some time on Pico, as long as he plays cleanly. And that golden hammer, with the golden hammer, he loses that ability to hover, so he needs to take the intended route of wrapping around the screen like he is there. And that's going to do it for Pico de Gallo as soon as the bonus stage loads. Professor Retro only a couple stages behind. But Pico moving on to Super Mario Brothers. We have Ugly Al in Phase 4 of Wrecking Crew, Camp Huna in Phase 3. Bird Base has begun Mario Brothers. We know that he has cleared Donkey Kong Jr. And we now have Pico de Gallo and Noise Police both in Super Mario Brothers. Pico in World 1-1. Noise Police just about ready to clear World 1. I believe that Arnpali is back up and running as Noise Police clears World 1. Pico de Guile breaking out some any percent strats. He's running as Small Mario, Noise Police taking the safety. And playing as Fire Mario, although he has now lost his fire. And Professor Retro putting on a Wrecking Crew clinic. And he is now ready to start Super Mario Brothers. So 3 runners on Super Mario Brothers, and it looks like Arnpali will be rejoining us here in just a moment. He is wanting to re-begin the run from scratch so that he can get accurate timings for it. And he jumps back into Donkey Kong. Meanwhile, Pico about to join Noise Police in World 2 of Super Mario Brothers, now just about a level and a half behind. Professor Retro going for that Fire Flower, and he's decided just to pass on it for now. He is going to grab a 1-up for safety. That's something that I support because surviving is definitely faster than dying, especially in a potential game over scenario. Good clear of World 2-2. For Noise Police, he's now just 2 stages away from moving on to Super Mario Bros. 2. Professor Retro just a world behind in Super Mario Brothers. I think we'll stick with these runners here through Noise's hopeful completion of Super Mario Brothers, and then after that we will check in with our other group. And that looks like a wall jump from Noise. He is showing off, pulling out all the stops, but he takes a tough death at Bowser. And that is going to lose him some time as he'll need to start this stage over. Pico now only 1 level behind as he moves on to 2-3. Professor Retro joins them in World 2 as well, and that is another death for Noise Police. He is struggling with World 2-4, and he only has 1 life left. Now, there is a continue code in Super Mario Brothers, but that would force Noise Police to start back at World 2-1, meaning he would fall behind Pico and Professor Retro and fall from first to at least third. We don't know what's going on over on the other screen if Ugly Owl is in Super Mario Brothers or not, and Noise Police getting trolled hard by Bowser, but he is able to salvage it and move on. That is a lot more costly, or I guess a lot less costly than if he would have taken that death. But you see Pico with a quick clear of 2-4, and he is right back in it. Let's check in and see where the other group is. Bird Base has moved on to Pinball. Ugly Owl is in Super Mario Brothers. Camp Huna only a couple phases away from finishing Wrecking Crew. Camp Huna taking a death. I think he might have been knocked down by Foreman Spike, who is Mario's nemesis in this game. If you're not fast enough, he will hit you and knock you down like he did there, but that time it wasn't as costly. Because Camp had already cleared out both doors. But if he knocks you down, you need to climb that ladder all the way again. So that's the final phase of Wrecking Crew for Camp Huna. Ugly Owl in World 1-3 of Super Mario Brothers. So we're just waiting on Bird Base to get the ball in that hole up in the top right corner of the screen, where he will find Mario. And he just about had it. And he will reset. I think he's just going to try to play for the manip. It's not a bad play at all. You know, if you get it, there is no effort. It works every single time if you plunge the ball on the correct frame. And I think this is it. This should be the manip. If he raises the flippers, he will have it. And the ball bounces in there, and Bird Base finds Mario. So he will now move on to golf. And let's just stick with Campuna here as he climbs up to the top in Wrecking Crew, and he is just about ready to clear Phase 8. Once he moves on, we will check with the other runners. It's very possible that all three of them are in Super Mario Brothers 2 at this point. Just 4, now 3 more ladders to clear out for Camp. And there it is, as soon as the bonus stage loads, he will move on to Super Mario Brothers. And Arnpolly already back in Mario Brothers. Looks like Pico de Guile fighting the Birdo from World 1-2. One thing I will say is that there is some potential for Pico to catch up a little bit to Noise Police here, because I know that Noise Police prefers to run Super Mario Brothers 2 as Luigi only. You can see how much faster Toad moves and runs compared to Luigi. So Pico, if he goes ham on Super Mario Brothers 2 here, and he is looking for the key skip. So the key skip would allow you to clip through the floor and into the next room, which would allow you to then skip climbing up here and getting the key. He doesn't get it, so he's going to have to go the intended route and climb up and get the key. But that honestly probably would have put him ahead if he would have been able to pull that off. So yeah, back to that original point, with Toad moving faster than Luigi in most stages. If Pico plays optimally, he is going to gain time on Noise just by using a different character. We now have 3 runners over in Super Mario Bros. 2 as Pico takes the key in. Noise Police clearing World 1 of Super Mario Bros. 2, and he will take on the desert level now. This is a game that you can. There are different ways that you can associate this game with both of our top 2 runners. Last year, Pico was in second place going into Super Mario Bros. 2, and he took a full game over at Tri-Clyde, which is the final boss of this run, of this goal. He was at the boss, and he took a full game over, had to play the entirety of Super Mario Bros. 2 again, and he has definitely been out for revenge. For Noise Police, it's a little bit more fond of a memory, and Super Mario Bros. 2 is actually the very first game that he ever streamed on Twitch. Professor Retro getting Fast Carpet, which is a trick where if you spawn 2 magic carpets and then go back onto your original carpet, rather than the carpet of the speed, the speed of the carpet rather, instead of it being the normal slowed carpet speed, the carpet will actually take on the properties of Toad's speed, meaning you can use that fast carpet to basically skip the entire level. Pico now moving on to Birdo in 2-1. Noise Police taking some safeties in 2-2 of Super Mario Bros. 2. If Pico skips those, he's going to pick up a little bit of time. There's an extra life in that door, another potential safety, but Noise is skipping that one. So Pico and Noise now both in 2-2. And Noise kind of got hung up there. So we will see if Pico is able to make up time, but he takes a death now. So I think any potential time save there is probably all for naught. Toad does dig significantly faster than Luigi because Luigi falls. Luigi falls slower than any other character. So every time you dig and Luigi is falling down to the next level of the sand, he's falling slower than Toad would. And Toad is also technically digging faster as well. So Pico can pick up a lot of time in these digging sections of the game. There's one in every single stage of World 2. Professor Retro moving on to the fight with Mouser. And Noise and Birdo having a double kill there at the end of 2-2. So here's a chance for Pico to do a little bit of catch-up. He needs to get into that door, and he will checkpoint at the Birdo fight. He does only have, one health point remaining here, but, Noise and Pico high-fiving. Pico also taking a death now, and that is a game over for Pico, so that is rough. It's not quite as costly as the one that he took last year, but he will need to continue, and he will now need to start 2-1 over. So that death is going to drop Pico from second place into third place, as Professor Retro now moves ahead of him, given that he's already made some progress in 2-1. And another death for Noise Police. You see Ugly Owl, hopefully just a few seconds away from finishing Super Mario Brothers. Bird Base on hole 7 of golf, and Camp Huna not too far out from Super Mario Brothers 2 in his own right. Just needs to finish up 2-3, and then move on to 2-4. Ugly Owl moving on to Super Mario Bros. 2. Let's go back and check over with our other group. I know that I wasn't sure that death that Noise Police took. It does look like he has at least one life remaining. He may have multiple lives. I didn't get a good look at his lives counter, but he is in fact still in. Or actually, yeah, he is still in World 2-3, and he is about to get the key. I think he miscounted his cherries there, as he has just spawned a star, maybe a little bit later than he wanted to. Actually, it very well might be intentional, as he grabs the key and he's about to take it back up and open up that locked door, although he takes a death. I would need to see how many lives he has, because he may be... Okay, this is the last life for Noise Police on World 2-3. I think we want to keep it here for a little bit, because I think this is crucial to get a look at it. Because if Noise takes a death here, if he takes one more hit, he needs to start World 2 over again. So that would be very costly for him. It would drop him from first to third. So he needs to play extra cautiously here. And that cautious play, even though it doesn't force him to start the world over, he very well could still, lose time, needing to slow down to avoid taking that one hit. He just needs to get through this section, and then he will meet up with Tri-Clyde And again, I think he may take this fight very conservatively because one hit, one errant fireball. You can see he takes and he barely gets away from that set of fireballs. He throws a mushroom block, he registers a hit. It looks like he is going to be safe. He takes out Triclide, and he just needs to go through the door, and he moves on to Super Mario Bros. 3. That is a close call. That is a clutch play from Noise Police. That is now both Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 2 that he has had only one life remaining in the final section of that goal, and has been able to clutch it out and avoid taking a game over. So if it turns out that Noise is your victor tonight, you can probably look to both of those games as a reason why, and not needing to start either of those over. Professor Retro now moving on to 2-3, Super Mario Bros. 2, and Pico catching back up. He is just a few screens away, if you will. And Pico playing like a man possessed. He is just about ready, I think, to pass Professor Retro. There's a photo finish into that door. Pico moves slightly ahead back in to second place, as Noise Police now has the clearance to begin Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Bros. 3, you can save a lot of time by keeping your P meter full. We refer to it as P speed. And anyone that's able to kind of maintain P speed throughout a level, or for as much of a level as possible, is going to gain a significant amount of time. Playing in a more traditional way, you're definitely going to lose quite a bit of time. As Professor Retro pulls back ahead of Pico, he grabs the key. So these two are neck and neck for second and third place at the moment. We can do a quick check-in with our other group, but I definitely want to see how this photo finish ends. Ugly Owl using Princess here in 1-3. And just about to clear World 1 and move on to World 2. So Ugly Owl not too far away either in fourth place. Campuna still a close fifth. I mean, we still have, we have 4 of the 7 runners. They're all still in Super Mario Bros. 2, although 2 of them are getting ready to wrap up. Bird Base continuing his leisurely run of golf. Hits the ball into the water, but again, not too costly. He just moves the ball back a few yards, and he can take another shot from where that is. You don't actually have to go the full way back to the tee. So he's probably going to try to lay the ball up there into this area of fairway. And even that overshot going into the water is fine, because the ball basically gets placed right where it would have been if it didn't go into the water. All right, let's check back in with our top 3, and we do see that both Professor Retro and Pico de Guile are waiting to get started on Super Mario Bros. 3. Professor Retro just starting out, so we can see, looks like he cleared Mario 3 just a few seconds ahead of Pico. One thing that we can potentially watch for Super Mario Bros. 3 is there is an RNG element that is not likely to affect the run, but if it does, it will affect the run very greatly. And that's referred to as early hammer. There are 2 Hammer Brothers that spawn in World 2 of Super Mario Bros. One of them is carrying a hammer. And if it's possible that that Hammer Brother moves in a very specific pattern, you have early access to fight that Hammer Brother, which gets you the hammer item that allows you to break a rock on the world map, and you can skip multiple levels if you're able to obtain that hammer early. Noise Police has made it to the airship in Super Mario Bros. 3. We will very likely focus on this particular group for a somewhat significant amount of time, as you know, we are getting kind of close to the end of the run for them. Noise Police will just have one more world of Super Mario Brothers, and then for Dr. Mario, it is only level 10. You skip straight to level 10, and you just need to clear that one level, and then victory is yours. So we will probably still do periodic quick check-ins with the other group, but for the most part, a good part of the remaining time as they finish up, we will keep it focused here. Pico and Professor Retro both in World 1-5. And again, just several lead changes just keep happening between Pico and Professor Retro for second place. One thing to keep an eye on here for Professor Retro, he has 2 star cards. If he gets a star here, he's going to get the fireworks, which he does not. He slowed down there just to make sure that he doesn't get it. But even so, that small slowdown allowed Pico to get ahead. That's how close these two runners are to one another right now for second place. Still anybody's race. A mistake could prove costly. Pico taking an aggressive approach, trying to get P-Speed and bouncing off of those turtles. But he takes a death. Professor Retro taking a much safer approach, which in theory, if Pico would have been able to execute the strategy that he was, he would have saved a great deal of time. But now he is not going for it a second time. He's going to take the lift conservatively as well, but he's not lost too much time here. We'll just be a few seconds behind Professor Retro. And just about anything can still happen here. I know last year we had a couple runners who took a death in the airship in World 2, and then needed to follow the airship around the world map. I actually think it technically happened in both Worlds 1 and 2. So that's something to be mindful of. That can cost a lot of time if you not only have to play the level again, but you have to physically go somewhere else on the world map to find it and play it. We had a runner last year who had to play an additional level to get to the airship because it moved behind a level that they had to beat in order to access it. On Polly seems to be trucking through this list in his second attempt as well. He is now about halfway finished with the goal for Wrecking Crew, as Professor Retro finishes off Larry Koopa, grabs the wand, and he will move on to World 2. There is a death for Noise Police in World 2-3. But Noise Police with a fairly significant lead, over 2 full stages ahead at the moment. Again, an early hammer is not likely, but it could very well change the entire trajectory of this race. Here's the start of World 2 for Professor Retro. Professor Retro still just a little bit ahead of Pico de Gallo. You can see they're both on the same purple pipe structures. Pico's strategy actually a little bit faster. He pulls ahead of Professor Retro. So right now, it's Pico back in second and Professor Retro back in third, as Noise Police just wraps up the nightmare fuel that is the sun level. He has to clear one more stage, then clear the pyramid and take out a Hammer Brother. He chooses to use his P-Wing on stage 2-4. P-Wing gives you permanent P-Speed, which is going to basically allow you to fly infinitely in this level. It wears off after one level. Noise clearing 2-4. Arnpolly already back in Super Mario Brothers. You have to wonder. Now, I know that he does have, he has a timer running. I believe all of our runners have a timer running on their individual streams. So, even though we had that hardware failure for Arnpolly, we'll still be able to compare the time of his run, of his restarted run, to the times of the others here. Ultimately, we're playing for fun, we're playing for pride, and we are playing out of a love for Mario, whether that is nostalgia or whether it's, just knowing that he's one of the most iconic video game characters of all time, and it's a chance for people to explore, his origins on the NES. And Pico kind of really starting to blow the gap wide open here between him and Professor Retro. As he clears out a Hammer Brother, and Professor Retro takes out Boom Boom. And Pico is flying. We can take a very quick check-in with the other group, probably just a few seconds, just to see where they are. We're going to be spending a decent amount of time here. Ugly Owl is in Super Mario Bros. 3, Bird Base in Wrecking Crew, and it looks like that is the World 1-1 Birdo for Camp Huna in Super Mario Bros. 2. That tells me that he very likely took a game over and needed to start some stages over. All right, let's go back over and see if we can catch Noise Police's clear of Super Mario Bros. 2. Because he is on the verge of moving on to Dr. Mario, and he just needs to take out one stage of Dr. Mario, one set of viruses, and he will presumably be your 2022 NES Mario Decathlon champion. But Dr. Mario, there's a lot of RNG. We've watched multiple runners before last year take one or more game overs in Dr. Mario. It is not a foregone conclusion just yet. Let's see if he is able to, to get that number of viruses down to a manageable number. And then at that point, we can be a little bit more confident in what's about to happen here. 44 viruses away from a new NES Mario Decathlon champion. Let's see. We will keep it here with Noise Police through Dr. Mario and see if he is able to pull it off. Pico de Gallo has moved on to the pyramid level of Super Mario Bros. 3. Good slide under those bricks. That will save him some time. Although he loses that Buzzy Beetle, he needs to try to respawn it so he can break this wall here, which he does. Noise already down to 35 viruses. Almost a quarter of the way finished. It's going to be more and more critical for Noise to get good RNG and play cleanly. All Pico de Gallo needs to do here is clear this airship, and Pico will join Noise in Dr. Mario. Now just 30 viruses to go. Noise with a pretty clean Dr. Mario board. Not really any garbage pileup. Nothing is where it shouldn't be. And that is very, very significant when it comes to playing Dr. Mario. Now, I know that Dr. Mario is a game that Pico is extremely passionate about. You know, it's part of his roots, you might say. So it's very possible that he has a little bit of an advantage in Dr. Mario, but is that lead of Noise Police just too much to overcome? I mean, he has already cleared 20 viruses off of the 44 virus board. It may be too little too late, but Pico at least has a good opportunity to high five with Noise in Dr. Mario. Noise hits the halfway point. Although Dr. Mario, generally speaking, in my experience, is a game that gets easier as you progress because you're clearing viruses out of the board. You have the ability to, you know, he now has a free and clear, you know, 2 spaces over on the right side of the screen that he can put pieces that he does not want clogging up his main board here. Now just 16 viruses to go. Professor Retro not too far behind either. And here we go. Pico and Noise both in Dr. Mario. Noise only has 11 viruses left, now 9 viruses. Pico is playing on medium speed compared to low speed for Noise. You can just see how much faster the game is moving. But once again, it's 37 viruses, now 35 compared to 9. I think it may just be a little bit too much to overcome, potentially. Now just 7 left for Noise Police. I mean, Pico is ripping through these viruses. He is already down to 27. I will be curious to see if anybody else plays on a higher speed. I think Arn Pauli might be the only other candidate to play on a higher speed. 6 viruses left for Noise Police. He is just waiting on the right color pieces. That double blue is going to allow him to take out 2. And now just down to the final 2 viruses. This one appears to be academic. Pico is just ripping through the game, but it's just too little too late. That is it. Noise Police is your winner of the NES Mario Decathlon. There is the stage clear. Pico only with 14 viruses left. I mean, it was an amazing,
some of those were wrong, though.
Comeback effort. Let's see what happens here.
Some of those were wrong because
1 hour, 3 minutes,
for...
and 19 seconds for Noise Police. Who is your winner We're going to see if we can potentially get Noise in here to say a few words, maybe answer a couple questions, as Pico just about ready to finish up also. Pico just one virus away, 20 viruses left for Professor Retro. Pico de Gallo clears his final virus. That is going to be a second place run of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 14 seconds. That was a bit of a Dr. Mario clinic, no pun intended, from Pico de Gallo. He gained a ton of time, I think, on that game. I'd love to see the split comparisons, but as far as how quick Pico's Dr. Mario clear was compared to Noise. Professor Retro just 13 viruses away. We'll stick around here and see Professor Retro's clear, and then at that point we will jump back over. Will be potentially cool to see if we can get any words from Noise and or Pico. Let's see if we can get...
You can kiss my...
And I believe that that Noise Police is in fact in here.
Hey, hey, hey.
So, thank you so much for joining us. So that was awesome. I definitely want you to take me through some of that. I was very impressed in the way that you were able to clutch out both Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2. I know that I believe in both of them. You were on your last life whenever you cleared them. I know Bowser was really trolling you at the end of Super Mario Brothers. What was going through your mind at that point?
Well, nerves were going through my mind. That's when nerves started to set in. You have Donkey Kong Jr., Mario Bros., Pinball, Golf, Wrecking Crew, and I had a great golf game, and everything went to plan on the other games, and I was feeling good. I felt like I was in the lead, and then Mario Brothers started going well, and it was like, oh my lord! And then, of course, like I think I went like deathless all the way to the castle in World 2, and then lost all my lives there on that stupid trick jump that I have to do. But Bowser trolled me like no other. I'm not used to fighting him, going under him. I'm not used to going under him, as you can tell.
Yeah. Now, did you have the stream up? Were you spying on Pico and Professor Retro? Did you have an idea of how far ahead you were, or were you just playing to play and focus on your own game?
Absolutely not. I just had my splits up from last year, and that's all I was kind of going against. Funny thing about that is I set my splits up wrong, so I had no idea how long the 30-second swaps were. I just added it up. I was actually plus 22 on my 30-second swaps. I think my second one where I finally noticed was like 42 seconds. So I was worrying about that too. That was on my mind the whole first half of the race, and then I just started getting nervous about finishing out the second half.
All right, and it looks like Ugly Owl has made his way into Dr. Mario, so he will be finishing up. Joining us also here in chat is our second place runner, Pico de Guile. And GG's to you, Pico, and a big woo-wee. What are your overall thoughts on your run? I know the thing didn't quite happen. I did see a game over in Mario 2, but I don't think it was quite as costly as last year's.
No, well, last year. You're right there, Darth Noise.
Oh, sorry.
Man, this is exactly what I was doing. I was choking in Super Mario 2. Oh man, there's so many things that I would get like flawlessly all the time in practice, and none of that was happening in Super Mario Brothers 2. But you're right. The game over this year was not as bad as the I think it was a triple game over last year, where I just had to start the entire game over from the first level, and that was god awful. But Super Mario Brothers 2, it's gonna Mario 2, you know. What's up, Noel?
We were smack talking earlier, weren't we? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think we were smack talking about Super Mario Brothers 2 in particular.
Man, when I loaded up Dr. Mario and I saw that you were still on Dr. Mario, but you had just a few viruses left, I was like, I got to play the best Dr. Mario game of my life right here and come back and whoop Noise so he's got nothing to talk about. Obviously, that didn't happen.
I'm very curious. Are you guys both able to share how long each of your Dr. Marios took? Because at the end, I felt like Pico was just ripping through it. And
527 for me.
351.
Like so when Pico started Dr. Mario, Noise, I think you had somewhere between like 20 and 22 viruses left, and we were just like, I think it might be just too little too late at that point. And then when he just turned it on to medium and he just started ripping through, I was just like, it's gonna be closer than I thought it was. So but at the end of it, Noise, you had so much of a lead at that point. That's
a game I didn't practice, man. I didn't practice Dr. Mario. Please don't let me lose it to Dr. Mario.
I felt good about where you were at that point, but then it did kind of turn into, at the end of the day, it is Dr. Mario, and you are so much at the mercy of RNG, and anything can happen. I do want to shout out to Professor Retro, who was a newcomer to this event this year. Big GGs to him for his third place finish of 107.51. And I know that he had put up a full run earlier in the week that I think was closer to 110. So I think I don't know how many PBs or how many full runs I should say, but I think that's probably the fastest that he's completed that set of goals. And Arnpolly is already finished with World 1 of Super Mario Brothers 3.
Nice.
So let's talk about that for just a hot second, because I'm not sure because obviously you guys were running and focused on your own runs. I'm not sure how familiar you are with what happened, but right in the middle of Mario Brothers, he had a significant laptop crash. So he lost his timer, he lost everything, and then he finally got back, up and running. And I'm trying to think. I mean, you guys might have been already in like SMB1 at that point. That he just started from scratch. And now he's got P speed through like in World 2. He is just tearing through this list. Now, Noise, I'm gonna put you on the spot. And we obviously had a catastrophic, hardware failure on Arn Poly's part. So I mean, how do you feel about the whatever time he puts up here? I mean, do you think he has any share even of a claim to the title with you if he's able to beat your time?
I think if he's able to beat my time, then we should have a race off. Once again, rewind it back. Let's go.
Now, when you say that, I mean, do you mean a year from now, or are you thinking a lot sooner?
I mean, whenever. I got to race Retrophile and Kirby first, man. I mean, when is that going to happen? But yeah, I mean, tonight. Let's do it tonight.
So we'll just see.
Captain Caveman, you're the one who invited Noise on the mic. Let me just remind you of that while you're in this situation right here. I just want you to know that.
It's I 100%. I knew when I asked for this what it would bring me, and that is where we are. Professor Retro, thank you so much for rating into the channel. I mean, we can always also we can see what he's up to also. I mean, I wouldn't mind hearing from everybody about their run.
Yeah, great game, Professor Retro. I was watching him get some practice in just before this. He said that he's been streaming, I think, 5 of the last 6 days, trying to get all of his ducks in a row for all these games, and he did really well. Him and I were neck and neck. I was kind of glancing over.
There were so many changes between the two of you. I wasn't sure to what extent. I know that Noise, he said he was just focused on his own run. Pico, I don't know if you were stream watching or not, if you kind of had an idea of the times you were ahead, the times that you were behind. I believe, if I recall correctly, that you were very close to being in the lead when that Super Mario Brothers 2 death happened. I mean, you and Noise were kind of neck and neck, and then that was kind of, the point where, he really started to pull ahead was that Mario 2 death.
Yeah, that would do it. So there was one streamer I was watching, and I think we know who it was. There was one person I wanted to make sure that I beat, and I didn't. So
you'll get him next year, Pico. Don't worry. That son of a gun.
I appreciate that, Noise. Yeah. So about halfway through the race, I got curious and wanted to see where I was compared to Noise. And I don't think I should have done that. I think I should have just kept my head down and kept plugging away.
You need to rewatch my video though, because you need to see all those hot Luigi strats, baby.
Man, I tried to work in some hot Toad strats, and
that's an oxymoron.
I just was not, and that doesn't make sense to me, Noise. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that was one thing I was really looking for. I know Noise with the struggles that he had in Super Mario Brothers 1, he was like getting massively trolled by Bowser. He at that point, I believe even Pico, you pulled a little bit ahead, and then you guys were kind of neck and neck on SMB2 for a while, and it was kind of at a point where I said the Toad strats very well could have paid off could have paid dividends, because I know there were certain sections where, especially the digging sections, where Luigi is a lot slower. So I think that there's a lot of different directions that that things could have gone. Professor Retro did agree to join, but I'm having some trouble getting him into this Discord channel here for some reason.
Step away from the mic. I'll see if I can help you.
Okay. Meanwhile, Arn Polly has already moved on to Dr. Mario. So he is just about ready to finish up. So it's very remarkable what he's done, and he's going to play on high speed. I think he has a point to prove after that hardware failure.
I think all that Professor Retro has to do is just come into the channel, and he should be golden. I don't know, like, so the high speed, it doesn't afford you all that extra much in my opinion. Like it starts, like, he throws them faster, but when you are dragging down the pill, I think it moves at the same speed whether you're on high, medium, or low. So as soon as you get that pill over there, in place, if you drop it, it's all kind of the same. Maybe it is in the way that Mario tosses it down, though. Yeah, he's moving to that game pretty good.
All right, yeah, just 33 viruses left for him. Bird Base taking a death in Super Mario Brothers. Camp Huna is on the Triclide fight. Looks like he is building a small wall there, and then at this point now he's just going to throw. I know at one point I was looking at his screen, and I think he had 17 lives. So I know that he does not want that game over. He's playing the slots. Looks like he's down to 7, but not really too much of a risk of a game over there. And I mean, also he is finished now with Mario 2 and moving on to Mario 3 as Arn Polly about to finish up. I am going to be very curious as to what Arn Polly's time is. Bird Base wrapping up Super Mario Brothers, and he'll move on to Super Mario Brothers 2. So just 3 runners left. The official time for Ugly Owl, who finished in 4th place, is 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 52 seconds. So big GGs to Ugly Owl, who just entered the race today. We did not know that Ugly Owl would be participating, but he said, it's March 10th, it's Mario Day, let's get in here, let's run these games. I don't know to what extent he practiced offline ahead of time, but we do know pretty definitively that I think it was relatively short notice for him. I'm not sure when he even found out about the event. So big GGs to him for completing that run in just under an hour and 18 minutes.
And I think we managed to get a Professor Retro in here, so I'm going to back away. Great job, Professor Retro. It was fun watching you.
Yeah, welcome in, Professor Retro, and big GGs to you on your 3rd place finish. So now I believe that is faster than the full run that you did on stream earlier in the week. Is that right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Yeah, that was so my first run of the week, I got a 1 hour and 10 minute, or hour and 11 minutes, something like that, or hour and 10. I had a run last night that was 105.50.
Okay. I didn't realize. Was that a streamed run or was that an offline run? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that one.
Well, I did it on stream, but I didn't post the time. anywhere.
All right, now Arn Polly has finished, so it's GG's to Arn Polly. I would be remiss if I didn't point that out. Now get this. Now obviously Arn Polly started over because of the laptop failure, so he did not clear the finish line along with anyone else. But from his second run, from start to finish, his time was 52 minutes and 37 seconds. So I mean, he just absolutely, ripped through those games. I think that you can definitely see the impact that laptop failure had on the race. I'm just throwing it out there.
Wow, that's incredible. He said last year his winning time was around 55 minutes.
It was around 55. So take me through the run. What went well? What didn't go so well? I know we wanted to kind of focus on you for Wrecking Crew, because I know that's your game of choice, and you are one of the top Wrecking Crew runners out there, at least in the top speed category. That looked pretty clean. Were you watching the other, like, were you watching the stream? Did you know where you were in relation to some of the other runners?
I had no idea. My internet, I'm out in the country. My internet's really bad, so I'm lucky to be able to stream at all. So I couldn't watch anything. And nobody in my chat was saying anything, which I think was good, because it probably would have made things worse. I struggled a bunch. Actually, no, Donkey Kong was fine until the last stage. I got trolled by the flames a bunch of times. Donkey Kong 2, I just barely made it through. I had a couple deaths because of the trampoline. Mario Bros, I felt super slow, but I think I started to pick things up. Pinball, I got the first try glitch, which was nice. Golf, I got stuck on a couple holes. Wrecking Crew went really well. Mario 1 went pretty well, although I died a couple times. Mario 2, that's the one game I felt really good in. Super Mario 3, I don't know how to go fast in that game. This is the one game I didn't want to practice much. I just was going off memory from when I was a kid. And then Dr. Mario, I've done a ton this week. The low speed might not have helped me, but I did my best.
Yeah, I mean, the low speed for the most part kind of puts you on an even playing field. A lot of participants playing on low speed. Both Pico and Arn Polly, the only two runners that did not play on low speed. And I believe that I've sent out an invite for Arn Polly to join us as well. I want to talk to him about his run. Now, obviously, Professor Retro, this is the first year that you participated in this event. Did you just find out about the event this year? Did you know that it took place last year? Kind of take me through that, the perspective of being someone who did it for the first time.
Yeah, I had no idea that this happened last year. So I have two stories for how I got into it. The real story was that I was just in the Salsa Shack Discord, and I saw somebody posted the image of the race, and I was really interested. I read through the games and the goals, and I was like, wow, this sounds pretty fun. I found out about it maybe 8 days ago or so. And the story I like to tell is that I got arrested by noise police, and my punishment was I had to join this.
Now, I mean, would you ultimately? I mean, now that it's over and done with, I mean, do you classify it as a punishment, or do you think that it was a good thing? Are you happy that you participated?
Oh, that's definitely. I just wanted to have a noise police arrest story, but no, I'm really happy I did it, and this was great. I really appreciate you guys having me, and and I know you put this all together. I call on my timer. It says caveman %. So
I did see that, so I appreciate that little nod. Now, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because we're still right now in March 10th, 2022, but this was the second event, so let's say we come back for a third round. Can we count on Professor Retro to return?
oh, definitely, I wouldn't miss it. This was a lot of fun. I've been running Mario 2 any %. I just started running it a few weeks ago, so I was like, all right, I'm already playing a Mario game. I might as well. And then, I've as you know, I did Wrecking Crew a bunch in the past, so I was, I wanted to do that. I was really excited about it.
All right, awesome. And we do have Arn Polly in here now, so I want to hear from him as well. So I guess we can start off and let's address the elephant in the room here. Can you give a little bit of insight, for the audience as far as, what exactly happened and how much detail can you give as to kind of what happened right there in the middle of Mario Brothers? All right. Doesn't look like
The only
oh,
thing
there
I
we
can
go.
really say is what you all saw. I don't know what it looked like, if it just looked like game froze. It blue screened. It blue screened on my side. Hold on, I'm hearing something here. Hold on. There we go. Getting some echo there. Sorry about that. But yeah, it just straight up blue screened. I kind of looked out the corner of my eye, and that's not what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, it was too bad that happened. But really nothing you can do about it.
Right. Now, I mean, I do commend you for not only, jumping back in and finishing, but I mean, you also, like you wanted to start over. You didn't take the perspective of, I beat 3 of these and my laptop crashed. Like I want to jump in, at pinball. You not only, came back, but you started all the way back at the beginning. And the time that you put up was even better than the extremely impressive time that you put up last year. So I mean, what were the big spots that went better in this run that enabled you to finish like almost 2.5 minutes faster than last year?
Yeah, I'm just peeking at the splits. Most of the work I put in came in the Mario 1, 2, and 3. Mario 1, I mean, was kind of a marginal change, but I put a lot of work into 2 and 3. I knew that those were the ones I didn't really know really good speed tech for. So I watched some videos and sunk some decent time into practice to try to figure out how to all the cool tricks you've seen, like Cool Kid that does Mario 2. I wanted to learn some of those. And then after I really had fun with it and just decided to go completely full ham and, well, let's just learn all these that I can and try to pull off as many as I can. Um, and it ended up being, quite a bit faster than, um, just how I was trying to do it from last year, was just kind of winging it. And this time I, wanted to learn the strats and kind of show off a little bit. And I'm not going to admit, I was a little nervous seeing what some folks were pouring into this, like Noise and Pico. I wanted to put on a good show, but I also wanted to put some distance between me and those guys. So yeah, it was Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3. Mario 2 in particular, it was like a 2-minute save there. That was really, really huge. Mario 3 was about a minute. Wrecking Crew, I saved like 40 seconds over last year. Pinball, I got first try. That's pretty much the story. I had a bad Donkey Kong And I had a really good golf. I had a sub 10 golf. It just wasn't anywhere close to what I did last. I don't know how I did like a 918 in that last year. I have no idea how I pulled that off.
Yeah, and
It was
finishing
+1 in golf
yeah
this time, which
under
is
par. I mean,
way better than I did. I mean,
+1
it wasn't as
still
good as the
very
-1 I
impressive.
had last year, but it was way better than what I did in practice.
Now, did you do any full runs this year offline? And is this the fastest time that you've ever gotten on all 10 back to back?
Yeah, for sure. I think my best in practice was like 57 flat. Um, I had 58. I had like a 101. Just kind of, I think my last run I did was a 101. Just all kinds of weird little stuff went wrong. And it just happens. I don't know why it is when I get on. I don't know if um, it's swapping the carts because I was just doing other stuff. I was playing on emulator or I was playing on, um, like the SD card, just swapping ROM files on there instead of you actually swapping the card. I don't know what it is about playing on carts for me. It just seems to be better. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense at all.
All right, and then I have to ask, who, in your opinion, is the rightful 2022 NES Mario Decathlon champion?
It's got to be Noise. It can't be me because I started. I didn't start at the same time as everybody else. So
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think
I'm fine with
you think that 52 tells a different story? I don't know. Noise wants a rematch, it sounds like.
And if he wants it, he can have it. I'm up for it, provided it don't crash.
So we will have to see what happens there as we keep an eye on Bird Base and Camp, who are both still working on finishing out the run. Camp in the Fortress in World 2. Bird Base is in World 2 of Super Mario Brothers 2. So we will stick with them as long as we can here. Salsa Shack channel says we can do it tonight. I'm not so sure about that, especially if you want commentary, but we'll see. If March 10th fell on a Friday, I would maybe feel a little bit differently.
It might be a little late, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah, I don't recall which time zone you're in, but I mean you can.
I apologize if I'm talking over you.
No, you're fine.
Got a long delay.
You can be in and out in under 55 minutes, right?
Well, I think Noise
In
Police
theory,
is
sure.
actually kind of busy with cleaning up a little mess he made right before the run started.
All right, we have Camp Huna fighting Boom Boom in World 2 Fortress. Bird Base pressing on. But yeah, I would love to see some kind of a rematch between you and Noise, whether it's doing the exact same run again, or if I don't know if we want to mix things up. I mean, who knows? I'm certainly in no position to promise anything, but there's definitely a lot of talk going on in here and on Discord, and I don't know. It could happen. It might happen. We'll just have to see.
So have you thought about what's going on next year? Have you given it some thought in terms of what games we might have?
So I mean, this year it was exactly the same, and we liked the idea of keeping it exactly the same as before, so that people should run against their splits if they wanted to, go for a PB, things like that. And we always have the option to mix it up a little bit. I mean, it's tough because I think that there aren't really too many other Mario games on the NES that you could classify as definitive. Like, it would almost be hard, I think, to take a game out in place of another game, especially if we're doing the NES. If we're doing the NES again, I mean, we still have quite some time to think about that. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I mean, there's truly no guarantee that this will happen again next year, but I think there's a good chance that it will.
I hope so.
Noise Police says 10 hours of Super Mario RPG.
We'll let Noise do that by himself.
But yeah, it does look like next year, March 10th falls on a Sunday. So that's, I guess, something to bear in mind. What does that mean? I don't know exactly. But it just so happens that we're not going to have a Friday or a Saturday, March 10th. We're jumping around, but Camp Huna is, as pointed out in chat, he was playing some cards. He was playing the In Spade game to get some extra items. Now, completely taking the race out of the equation, I'm very curious how you guys feel about the sun level in Mario 3, which Camp is on right now. Like, is it nightmare fuel for you guys like it is for me? Like, do you have negative memories of this stage like I do?
Oh, it's brutal. I use the that flying pea thing, that wing, to go through it. I didn't even try it.
E-wing on the sun level. Yeah, I didn't catch that. It is just, I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's that sun. He's just
When
such
I
a
did
jerk.
this,
But
when I
guess you
learned
can
the
hit him
route
with
and
a
stuff,
turtle.
this is actually one of the easiest stages.
Yeah, I mean, I think going back and playing it as an adult, like, it's not nearly as bad, but I just know, like, I mean, it tormented me as a kid. Like, it's just, I don't know, just the way that the way the sun bounces around on the screen is just so anxiety inducing for me. Ugly Owl loves the sun stage, according to chat. Noise, I'm just recapping some things in chat. Noise thought he got early hammer in Mario 3, but it was actually the music box. So I guess that's a tough break. Yeah, you can kill the sun if you have a Koopa shell, which is interesting. I did not know that as a kid. It looks like Camp is gonna be playing 2-5. Or no, he is playing 2-4, but he is taking the bottom route of 2-4. But he is just about getting ready to, just a couple stages away in Mario 3. He does take a death.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, speaking of fast hammer, GG's on your PB and Wrecking Crew.
What the
Thank you. So, yeah, I did stream some Wrecking Crew last night, and I didn't clip it, but I had a really bad run where, I mean, I got all the pause buffers, I even think I got the fast hammer, but there was a point in the run where I just completely lost my train of thought, and I think it was in phase 3. I just walked the wrong way, and I had to turn around and like turn back, and I ended up like going into the bonus stage, and I'm like, well, I really hope this isn't my coin, because like I hate this run, and I got the coin, and I technically PB'd with a 153, and I was like, I can't walk away like that. So I ended up just playing through again, and I think it was something like my 50th or 60th attempt or something like that. I ended up getting the coin with just over a 150, and I think I'm done with Wrecking Crew forever.
Is this a door? Oh, Jesus.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad it helped, Arn Polly.
Yeah, the pause buffering in Wrecking Crew is, I think, something that we probably didn't see a whole lot of last year, because I don't think there was really a lot of understanding of what that did and how much time that saves. And I mean, in a run of that length, I mean, you're talking seven phases and a bonus stage that you can pause buffer in the Decathlon, right? So I mean, you're looking at probably like around I imagine probably close to 20 seconds that you can save just from pausing the game at the right time, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It is. When I started running that game, I was getting like a 156, and I couldn't. I was watching other runs, and I was like, I'm doing exactly the same thing as them. Why am I 6 seconds slower? I can't go any faster. And then I realized that that's what they were doing. Was they were pause buffering. If you notice, nobody actually talks during Wrecking Crew. That was one reason I recorded that video, was because nobody says anything during it. They're always like offline for the most part. I wanted to make sure I could tell people what was actually happening.
I think a lot of these the black box games, for some of them, tutorials, explanations, and things like that are honestly kind of scarce. So I thank you for putting together a Wrecking Crew tutorial, not just for the purposes of the Decathlon, but I mean, I think that that'll hopefully be something that gives people the knowledge that they need to take a crack at that category and try to get a time on the leaderboard for top score. Because I put my first run, I think, was something like July or August, and I haven't gone near it since. And I think that tutorial was really helpful in understanding not just what to do, but why to do it. And I had a couple questions for you afterwards, and you were gracious enough to answer them in Discord too. So I'm very thankful and grateful that you did that.
Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, any game that I'm getting good at, I like to do that. So Goonies 2 is my main game. So I made a tutorial for any percent for that. And when I'm doing my runs, I'm trying to explain to my audience what I'm doing. Because if I don't, they're not really gonna appreciate it, They're not gonna really see what it is that I've been working on.
Absolutely. As we see, Bird Base is back on the Mouser fight. I believe that Bird Base took a full game over in Super Mario Bros. 2. He was in World 2, and he's been playing back through World 1. So he's getting ready to jump back into World 2, I believe. Just needs to get a couple more hits on Mouser. Camp is in the airship. He saved his P-Wing for this stage, so this should be relatively, painless for him. Just kind of flying up there. He's avoiding everything. Very interesting to see. I saw 3 distinct P-Wing strategies in Super Mario Brothers 3. There may have been more, but I personally caught 3, which was Professor Retro using it on the sun level. I know Noise Police used it in 2-4 to fly up and play the top route for that. And now Campuna using it here in the airship. He clears it, defeating Morton Koopa Jr. He grabs the wand, and he is going to swap in his Dr. Mario cart here in just a few seconds, and he will be moving on to the final game of the run.
We got a chance to be.
I know Camp finished the run in just a little over 2 hours last year. I'm not sure right now where his timer is, but I know that he definitely has a chance to get a big PB in his second year. I know we got a little bit of a late start tonight, so he's definitely under the 2 hour mark at this point, going into the final game. So we will see how Dr. Mario RNG treats him here. As Birdbase does, he has defeated Mouser, and he is standing at the door. I'm gonna check in and see what's going on. Yeah, Camp's timer is at 1 hour 50 minutes, so he's 40 viruses away. Could potentially get a sub 2 hour run this year. We'll see how it goes. Birdbase is moving on back into World 2 of Super Mario Brothers 2, which obviously can be extremely unforgiving. This is this is the costliest game to take a full game over in. The limited continues are what make Super Mario Brothers 2, I think, almost the undisputed toughest game in the run. Just because, especially, depending on your level of play, if you game over 3 times, you are starting the entire game over from scratch.
I spent a lot of time today watching some of the all levels runs for Mario 2 because I just didn't know how to dig properly. I didn't know the strategies for digging, and that really helped me today. Got a big glot on this split.
Yeah, and obviously with most of the Mario 2 runs being any percent, you don't really see any World 2 strategies. So like you said, you have to look at other categories, other runs. As Birdbase is just about ready to fight Birdo in World 2. 25 viruses remaining for Camp.
We're really trying here. Oh. There we go. Look at that. Looked like I knew what I was doing, didn't it? Psych, you thought.
Birdbase now 1 hit away
8 minutes. I think we got
from
this.
defeating Birdo.
Let's not count our chickens. Let's not count.
And
our
does. He will move on to World 2-2. Just 2 stages left in Mario 2 for him to clear. Viruses left for Camp. Bird will be using Toad, taking advantage of that fast digging speed. The thing about Super Mario Brothers 2, if you're not familiar with the run, is that Toad already is the fastest character in the game, and if he is carrying a heavy object, like a Shy Guy, snake, or a large vegetable, Toad is the only character in the game where carrying items doesn't slow him down. It actually speeds him up. So he moves 20% faster if he's holding a large item, which is why you see a lot of people generally using Toad in speedrun situations. Birdbase taking a tough death there. He's got 1 extra life left. I know he is able, if he wants to duck into that room that he just died there right before. I know that that would, in theory, give him not only a checkpoint, but there is an extra life that he can pick up in that room if he wants some additional safety.
Debacle.
I think it's very difficult to play cautiously in the quicksand there because you kind of need to mash A at the appropriate pace in order to not sink to the bottom and die. But with those snakes shooting at you too, if you tap too much, you're gonna just jump up right into a bullet, and that's what we saw was the case there. But yeah, if Birdbase is able to make it to this door, he can jump in, he can get an extra life, and then if he dies, he will start from that door, and that checkpoint might be even more important than the extra life itself.
Let's go.
And he is skipping the door.
Let's go.
Meanwhile, 9 viruses left for camp. And that's a tough break for Bird. That's a game over. Let's see where he is on continues. He has both of them. So he's able to jump back into 2-1.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
All those viruses for camp concentrated in the middle of the screen. Just needs another yellow piece to clear out that yellow one right in the middle. All right, one more down. He is down to his final 5. 2 yellow, 1 red, 1 blue.
Just do it the hard way. Just do it the hard way.
He takes another one out, just 2 left. Looks like this blue one is going to be a freebie here, and he just needs to clear out the yellow, blue, and yellow that are covering this red. He's actually just going to go for the horizontal clear, which he gets. And that is it for Camp Huna 8. GG's to him.
Let's go.
I think that has got to be a PB. Looks like 1:57 on the timer, so that is a sub 2-hour run for camp. I think it's around 8 minutes faster than he did last year. So definitely some improvement there for him.
It's less than an hour practice, that's for sure.
So he will
Squad goal.
finish in 6th place. And let me see, as Birdbase keeps going, what direction we want to go. All right, and I think with that, Campuna finishing with a 157. I think
All right,
that will
Jesus.
probably do it for our
down this thing, we dig
restream
a
coverage
tunnel.
here. However, we have
You get
a
cut
very
yourself on
important
case.
thing that we need to accomplish here, and that is we are going to raid
You
out,
should get like,
and
I
we are
don't
going
know,
to
a
raid
latex
Bird
phone
Base,
case or
and
something,
I
so it
need to
slips
see,
right off or something.
you know, some electricity. You
Ooh,
know,
I want
let's
that
get
star, dude. I want it so bad.
let's get
Eat it.
motivating him. Let's send some good vibes his
Hell
way
yes.
in
Ugh.
his chat, and
Thank
let's
you,
do
Mario
our part
gods.
to get him across
Alright,
the
now I have to
finish
go
line.
This way. I think this is actually
So
as
we are
far
going
as I've
to
gotten.
head over to Bird Base. Let's
Ever
give
in
him,
Mario.
you know, all of the love that we can.
God damn it.
You know, we have, you know, a big thanks to all of our runners. Go follow all of our runners. I want to give a huge shout out to Chuckles W73, who was my producer this evening
any advice
for
for me
this
on this one,
stream,
Lemon?
allowing, you know,
Something
taking
about
care
my
of all the
clown
behind the
shoes
scenes
tripping
work
my
so I could
ass
focus
up?
on commentary. Chuckles, your help is so much appreciated. We'll go ahead and send you over to Bird Base. Have a
Alright, here we go.
wonderful, wonderful night, and let's get him to the finish line. And we hope to see you again on March 10th, 2023? Question mark?
I'm just gonna wait.